How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation, time to get that imagination all revved up, get into some creativity, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from a really special treat, one of my favorites, Cory Loftis. If you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. I was trying to think about what I love most about his work, and I've been a fan of his for quite some time. And I think it's that he takes a lot of things that you might be somewhat familiar with. Concepts from Disney or Ghibli or from video games, or some of his stuff feels almost a little Jamie Hewlett-esque from Tank Girl or Gorilla's fame or any of that kind of stuff. And he takes some of those the things that work really well with all that, and he makes them his own, and he does it in such a wonderful manner with beautiful color, master of anatomy and layout and composition and style and all that stuff. And he really just uses his own imagination and his own proclivities to really add so much more to the medium and to the world of illustration and animation as well. So just look at these. I mean, this is some stuff from some work he did with Wildstar, which is a wonderful game. If you guys haven't checked that one out, definitely check it out. There's also a little bit of like a Nico Martlet feel to his work as well. But I just love this. I love the way that he renders the fingers and the jaw that really juts out there is so really interesting. And those long, elongated. He just uses that simplify and exaggerate mentality really well. I think he kind of personifies that a little bit. Great posing. I really love the contrast of the skinny legs and the thick arms here in this guy. I could really just love on his work all day. I think he's one of my favorites, definitely, for sure. This is some stuff I believe from Wreck-It Ralph. Really, I love the contrast between the two characters as well. You have the thicker nose, the thin nose, the kind of fatter character, the skinnier character. You got just really great. Love the difference in the hat. I like looking at the different extremes between different characters, and I really like in this one where he used the sprinkles as a mustache. I thought that was a really creative solution to that problem there. Another great, what I really like on this one is the silhouette and the kind of weight that you get here. I think this is a great example of utilizing silhouette and posing to really sell your character even more. Because even if you just blacked everything out, you can be able to tell a good amount of what this character would be in just black and white with no extra color and no extra information there. And I think he does such a wonderful job of that. So definitely check out more stuff from him. Like I said, I'm sure I could just proclaim the glories that are Cory Loftis for quite some time. This one's just such a peaceful scene. Really love that. The color choices in here are just gorgeous. And this one always reminded me kind of a milk call from the Sword and the Stone, the wizard from the Merlin. Really feels like that's just almost like if you're walking in like that. It reminds me of kind of where I used to live in Wisconsin. Kind of those back fields and stuff, and just seeing that character through there, just gorgeous stuff. And anytime someone who's creative or imaginative gets you to just think about stuff and pause for a little bit, I think that really, especially in this day and age where it's just information glut all the time, if you can pause and just really think about a piece of work, I think that's when it really speaks to you and is doing something. And that's kind of where I always try to go for. We'll see. But I do want to share a quote with you guys that I was able to find from him, and that he said, "Don't waste your time reworking old failures. If you keep going back, you're missing out on a chance to do something new." And I think that's a great quote. Definitely something that I I think honestly almost to a fault for myself is that I don't spend enough time sometimes with things. I'm just ready for the next thing all the time. But I think there's some really beneficial stuff to that as well. Is that you're always trying to one up yourself or top yourself or do better or work faster or work harder or more motivated and stuff. But I think there is a little bit of contrast to that, is that you want to spend, at least for myself, more time really polishing things up and trying to heighten that level. But I guess you can kind of look at it both ways. Of if you're always pushing things new, that skill's going to come as well. But I think it's important to not focus on failures, especially. And if something, just kind of anecdotal evidence of this, I was doing some work on one of the books that I'm working on, and I kept just reworking this one piece, and I tend to not like to move on to the next thing until I at least get something in a workable form. And I think to some extent sometimes you should just trash it and move on to the next thing, because as soon as I stopped reworking that and got it in a workable form, I went on to the next one, and then that one just flew by, and that piece just ended up working really well. So I don't know, anecdotal evidence, I guess, of not reworking something, or if it's not working, it's okay to just move on to the next thing. But that being said, let's go ahead and get into some animation. Getting a little rambly today, so sorry about that, folks. You guys are amazing. I love you lots. This is the generic bird rig. It's a free rig you can grab over at davidoreilly.com. It's a part of his External Worlds collection of rigs, which I've been using a lot of over the last few days, and I really am getting to really love them, especially aesthetically. I think they've got a very kind of early video game aesthetic that works really well for them. But it's kind of that new old video game aesthetic where it's like in the vein of 80s pixelated aesthetic, I guess, but brought to, definitely more colorful, higher, larger color palette, more pixels or more geometry built in there as well. And if you're not familiar with what we'll be doing for the rest of the video, give ourselves around 48 frames. I go off and I find a rig that I've never used before. It's a free resource for you guys to play around with as well, and we kind of go from there. A little bit of over the shoulder, just hang out with me while I animate, a little bit of talking through the process. But the main goal of doing these videos each and every day is to hopefully encourage you guys and inspire you to go off and create your own stuff each and every day. I really do love you guys lots, and I hope that that comes across for sure, because I think it's important to help each other and to encourage each other, because I know there's tough days sometimes where you just don't want to get out the sketchbook and do a page, or you don't want to do those scales on your instrument, or you don't, there's a lot of life resisting you from at least pushing or trying a little bit harder, or giving that little bit of effort towards mastering whatever medium it is that you're passionate about. So definitely encourage you guys, if need be, turn off the video right now and go do that. I'll feel great either way, because I love you guys lots. But let's go ahead and play around here. And I think yesterday's video went a little bit longer, and I've already rambled on long enough in this video, so I think we'll just do a cycle here for today. Let's just do a low little flap here. Let's bring the legs back. We'll have to do each one here. Bring it back there. Back there. And then bring those up. Just come get it started with our kind of key pose here, or storytelling pose to start off with. Something that's more interesting than just the default pose that we've got here. And grab all the little toes here. If it'll let me grab them. There we go. Bring them down. Put that down. Tuck that in a little bit more. Yeah. Gotta be careful about going too far volume in the middle portion of the leg. So let's keep bringing that up a little bit more. Bring that down here. And we'll have to make it up in the fingers. We'll group them down a little bit further. It's unfortunate that we don't have another section to have the tops, the base and the tips of the fingers or little toes here. We could carve or shape our posing a little better, but I think that's okay to start with. And let's see, maybe we can bring it in a little bit more. Just this way where I would normally bring that back, but just to save with our posing. Alright, it's not perfect, but that'll work. And let's do a little bit on the tail, feathers here. Actually, let's do some on the neck. Or maybe on the chest, I just want to get a little bit different movement here. Back. Put these guys up as well. It's kind of funky how that works. That's still alright. We'll keep it. And we'll close that mouth up a little bit more. Or maybe not. Open it a little bit, I guess. And let's look at both the wings here. Go up a little bit higher. Alright, let's start there. Like I said, I'll just do a little bit of a flap cycle here. So we'll go ahead and grab everything here, make sure we just have our NURB curves, NURB surfaces, and polygons selected. Got our frame range set up from 0 to 48. Let's go ahead and save our file first. We are using Autodesk Maya 2014 for today's video. For more information on that and all the stuff that we've talked about so far, check out all the links in the description below. And I always include a list of a few of my favorite starter animation books, or what I would say are essential animation books. And let's get started here. So I think we'll go on 8s. See if that seems too fast. Just do a couple little up and down movements here. And then back again. Let's see. Let's clean it up here a little bit more. Feels like it's a little too much. I think the timing's okay. But, and I think we're going to need to go another 8 frames. No? That's right. Okay. Let's see how we like that now. I'm kind of just looking at the timing now, remember, and just a little bit on the chest and see what we think. That feels alright. Alright, now let's grab the main bases of the wings here, which are going to be these two controllers. And we'll start those at 4 instead of at 8. So we'll go up here, and down there, up here, down there, up here, down there, and then back again. Let's see. I think we should have a little more focus on the down than the up, so let's keep that in mind here. Just push the down further and minimize the up a little bit more. Yeah, let's look at that now, see how that feels. Okay, and let's look at the ends here. I'm not sure if these are going to be the right controllers we want, but let's see. So we'll grab all of these guys. And we'll pull them up a little bit more there. let's just take these last ones and we'll delay them by about 2 frames, just so they're a little bit slower than the rest there. And maybe just 1 frame. Okay, and then let's start adding a little bit of rotation here. So I'll rotate back, forward, back, forward, and obviously this is a little too much, but we'll scale it back and go back in again. And we'll offset it with the tail and the neck here, so hopefully it won't feel so much like it's rocking, but more like there's just a little bit of like squash and stretch kind of flowing through there. Okay, now let's look at the neck. Especially that first move. We just want a little bit of this in here. Balance it out a little bit more. Let's see how that feels. Okay, and let's go with the head. Then I'll move on the 8s here. Back a little bit, forward a little bit. Back a little bit, forward a little bit, and back again. Let's see. Clean it out. Let's minimize it and balance it out a little bit more. Again, we don't want it to feel too wobbly, but just like there's some movement in there. Maybe we'll switch it and put the neck back here so that's on 8. We're gonna like it that way better or the other way? And then switch this to, so this one's back on, starting at 4. Maybe punch in another key here. Bring that down. Let's see how we like that now. Tip forward here and back the other way. I think that's probably more how we want it, right? Okay, but I think we gotta reset the neck a little bit more, so it's not. Let's see. if we did it so it was double time? Let's see if that would work. So it's on every 4s that it's bouncing instead of every 8. Let's see if we like that. We'll just start off at the beginning. If we don't like it, we'll go back. We'll definitely have to minimize the amount that we do as well, but let's see if we like that. Yeah, I think I do. But again, like I said, I don't want to do nearly as much there. And we'll just key it again every 4 frames. But that way I have a little bit different timing here as well. Again, we want to go back to where we started. So loop correctly. And minimize what we're doing there as well. Let's see. We need to go a little bit lower there. No, we're gonna go somewhere in the middle there. Alright, now let's look at all the tail feather controllers and see if we can mix those up here. Back, nope, back, and up there, and back there, up there, back there, there, back there, and then back again. Let's see. Yeah, that feels better. I go a little more back on the head, a little less forward. Yeah, probably more like that. Okay, we still want to do the beak here. Now, what do I have this going on? Okay, let's look at the beak here. We'll do the beak on the 8s again. Down, open. This is probably too exaggerated, so I'll scale it back. Let's see. Yeah, at least towards the end it is. Let's see how I like it. Yeah, let's scale it back a little bit more. Feels a little too chatty. Okay, now let's start looking at the legs here. Try to do a little bit of bounce here, so I'll pull them in there, out there, in here, out there, in here, push these guys a little bit. Like that. Okay, yeah, let's look at the toes here. Just do the front toes first. Then we'll do the back one so we can do a little bit different timing there. In, out, in, out, in, and back again. Okay, and then let's look at the back ones. I'll put those on the extremes here. In, out again, in again, and back again. Let's see. Okay, and then let's grab the outer toes. Come on, come on. Where's the controller? There you are. Okay, and let's delay on the frame. And let's take that inner toe and we'll put it forward frame just so we get a little bit of variation there too. Okay, and then let's vary a little bit the height here in our rotate Y's so they're not going to feel as similar. And we're just, doesn't really matter exactly how we vary them, just that we do a little bit. So that sometimes one will go, see there's a little bit of height variation versus before where we were kind of looking at them the same way since we set them up here. Do a little bit of variation in the movement on this section as well. I'm trying to make it so where I'm not saying I want this one up here and this one down here, but just make it a little bit of chaos in there, just so that, like you see, some of these are a little bit higher and so we're a little bit lower there. And then let's look at the foot itself, and we'll do a little bit of variety there. We tone down a couple of moves and tone up a little bit more. So like you see, there's a little bit of chaos in those movements, so they don't. So even though our timing's pretty similar, well, our timing is the same. It won't feel like our timing is as similar because we change the positions when they hit that time a little bit more. I think I still might tone down the rotate X here in the body just a little bit more. Now it feels like the head does a little too much back, not enough forward. So let's tweak that just a little bit. And a little less forward. Alright, I think that works. Like I said, we could definitely play around with this for a little bit longer, but that's a nice little quick flying cycle that we could use for something. So one more tweak we're going to do on here, save our file again, is grab everything, go to this last frame, and we'll delay it one frame after that. And if you look at everything, got almost everything on ones or twos here, which ended up being pretty good. Could still go and push a lot of this stuff, but I think we got something workable here. And a little bit of a shorter one. I try to do it so sometimes we have a little bit longer ones and a little bit shorter as well. I kind of like that perspective, so let's go ahead and create another one just so we can have a little platform. I always like to make a little platform for kind of makes them, in my head at least, feel like little action figures or toys or something there. Like Amiibos or Skylanders or one of those things. I don't know. Just kind of fun little thing to do here. And let's go ahead and copy that one, paste another one there. I'll scale it up a little bit and shorten it there a little bit more. I'll copy that, put another one there, scale that one up a little bit more, and flatten it. That would be a little too big. Try to get that beveled effect there. And let's go ahead and grab the outer and the inner, and we'll assign a new material to those ones. Let's put a Lambert on there, and change the color to be, let's do like a dark greenish, since the bird's kind of yeah, there's a little more blue in there. So let's see, probably be more something like that. There we go. Flat it out though. Tend not to like a lot of color. I like color, but I like my colors to be kind of flat. And then we'll assign a new material to that one as well. Let's darken it a little bit more. And then let's create one more cube here that we can do for our background layer, so we don't have this default bluish grayish color. I think I might even stick with just a matted gray. Let's switch back to original perspective. Yeah, looks a little bit better. And turn our curves off. And let's go ahead and just watch that little guy. Yeah, he works all right. So let's take a look back at where we started. We look at the beautiful, wonderful work of Cory Loftis. I really recommend you guys check out his stuff. I'm a huge fan. I think he does great, really imaginative work. And he said, don't waste your time reworking old failures. If you keep going back, you're missing out on a chance to do something new. I think that's a great thing to keep in mind as you're working through your creative day today, is to don't bother reworking those old problems. Just take a step on something new. And I think that I think I made it misspoke. Don't work on the problems are okay to work through, but I think it's specific that he looks at the failures. Don't rework failures. But I think you should still, that's tough, because when I think about that, like, I think there is something to pushing past things that are problematic towards solutions as well. So I think it's just really how you view a failure. I don't know, we could go off on a huge thing, but definitely, it's a quote that causes you to pause, to think about, if there's things that just aren't working, and there's really nothing left in there that you can glean out of it, move on to something new, even if it's a different iteration of, something that you weren't able to figure out before. Yeah, that's a way to look at it. I'm getting rambly. I love you guys lots. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, amazing day. I hope you take another step in your journey towards mastering whatever medium it is that you're passionate about. And feel free to share with me all the stuff that you guys are creating. I'm happy to give you a thumbs up. I need to get back to checking out all your guys' amazing stuff. It's been kind of a busy week, but yeah, I love you. You guys are amazing, and we'll wrap it up for today. So with that being said, we'll see you for some more animation tomorrow.